Hi, it's Rob here with another video, and this is going to be a video showing what I picked up at the car boot sale yesterday. So I've not done one of these videos for probably about a year, stuff I've picked up from car boot sales, but all year I've been going to boot sales, picking stuff up, and what I do is I come home and sort of play them and then put them away. I've not been showing them on my channel, so I need to start showing them on my channel. So a few people in the comments have said, oh, you know, when are you going to do a whole video? So the weather's been pretty lousy in the UK over the last 5 or 6 weeks really, so I've not really been to a car boot sale, but I looked on the weather and it looks okay, so I set my alarm for 6 o'clock and woke up and I was tired, but I got out of the house and got to the boot sale about 7 o'clock, and I'm glad I did. I got some really good stuff, so I thought I'd share them with you. So the first stall I went on, there was probably about 100 cars, probably 60 in the field and 40 in the car park. And I was walking round, I was there quite early, and there was a guy looking at records, and your heart sinks, and I could see some good records and he was looking at them. But he was actually more interested in a dartboard. So he put the records back and I was like, oh, yes. So these are the records that he weren't interested in. So first one's this sampler, Methods of Dance from 81. I remember this coming out. I remember that jacket, really liking it. So this is a Virgin sampler. So nearly every record that I picked up was £1. If I don't say anything, it were £1. So, and this Virgin sampler just shows you how many good artists were on Virgin in the early 80s. You got Devo and Daft and Fingerprints and Heaven 17, Simple Minds Magazine, Japan and the Human League. So this is a really good listen. And I was really pleased to find this for £1. 12-inch single, In the Shrink, Under Cover of the Night. One of my favourite Stone singles, so to find it on 12-inch, in really good condition as well. Today, all the records seem to be in really good condition, so to find that, I was really pleased. And in my last video, I was talking about Ian Jury saying you only need new boots and panties, but I picked this up for £1. It's a 12-inch Ian Jury, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. So in my next video I kind of contradict myself, but it's a 12-inch single. In some, I think in the early editions of New Boots and Panties, it had Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll on it. And this is got Sweet Jean Vincent on the flip side and You're More Than Fair. So I've looked at the prices of a lot of these records and Discogs, and I did very well today. So 12-inch of Ian Jury and Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll must be from 77. So out of all the records, this was the most expensive, and he wanted £2 for it. So Miles Davis, Sketches of Spain. So this is like a nice price reissue from 1985. That apparently sounds really good. Well, I've been reading reviews of it. So there's the clue. It's on that nice price budget. There was all sorts coming out on that at the time. There's some of the records that were a nice price. I think the nice price records were like £3.99 when maybe normal records were going for about £8. So, but I've got an original of Sketches of Spain, but I wasn't leaving this behind. I've not seen that image of Miles before, so nice one to add to the collection. And this is all these records, nearly all these records I've played at least half of them, in some cases all of them. So this was a really nice find. Been a few people in the VC talking about Brazilian music. Folklore, Bossa Nova, do Brazil. and there's some really nice tracks on here. It goes into sort of a bit of an Afrobeat style on a lot of the tracks, a few whistles. But this is something that's, you know, I'm not sure if I've got any Brazilian music in my collection, so when you go to car boot sales, you just never know what you're going to find. There's a few people that make videos on YouTube and they find stuff at car boot sales. And to me, the beauty is generally the prices are very good, but you just don't know what you're going to find. And that's the appeal for me. So this was a really nice one to find. So there was a guy, you get these people doing house clearances, and usually guys don't know anything about music and they don't know what they've got. And there was a guy there was a pile of records on the floor, and they really didn't look like they were worth looking through. But I've learned to always look through whatever's on the top. Just ignore it. Just look through the records and you might find something. And I was looking through, there was all Neil Diamond and John Denver. And then there was this album. So this is Mr. Yellowman from 1982 on green sleeve. And it's in really, really good condition. Anyone who sort of collects reggae records will know usually you don't find them in really good condition for £1 as well. Couldn't believe it. So I didn't really know anything about this guy. He's a DJ now, I think producer. I was reading about this because I didn't know anything about this. It just looks interesting, doesn't it, when you look at him, you know. Apparently it was in the top 200 on Pitchfork albums of the 80s. And some reggae magazine had it in the top 50 reggae albums of all time, I think. So I've played half of it and it's enjoyable. I picked up quite a bit of reggae this year, but I've not shown it on my channel, obviously, seeing as this is my first haul video of the year. So maybe I'll do a few more, but yeah, when you get a haul like this, and I just didn't want to put it all away and then I'd forget what I'd bought and how much it was. So, but yeah, that's a really nice find. And the same guy had Stevie Wonder Talking Books. I'm sure I've got a copy of this somewhere, but just in case I haven't, I thought I'd pick that up as well. Not as sort of probably as interesting as finding the previous record, but it's a classic album. So yeah, Stevie Wonder and Talking Book. And then there was a guy who had about 8 boxes of records that were all in genres. And he said that he'd inherited collections and he was just getting rid of stuff, but the prices he was charging, I don't think he knew what he had really, because he had some really good stuff that were just £1. I couldn't believe it. So I found this from the Secret Laboratory, Lee Scratch Perry from 1990. So it's a couple of years since Lee Scratch Perry passed away, and you don't see his records in good condition at car boot sales very often. So I've got a couple of records by Lee Scratch Perry, but not many, because you don't see them. So yeah, this is a pretty highly regarded album by him. I think he released 4 records in 1990, so pretty prolific, but I played half of this and really enjoyed it. So the same guy just had random records. If you didn't know what genre they were, they went in this box, and there was some 90s stuff in there. So I always liked dubstar. So dubstar, sort of synth pop, 96, during the Britpop period. Female singer, I think she was called Sarah. She's from Halifax, and a couple of guys from the northeast. And this track's called Anywhere. It's about 5 different versions. Really do like dubstar. I can't remember what the debut album was called. Disgraceful, I think, maybe. I won't mind. That's the sort of record that should come out on Record Store Day. So, and I think their biggest hit was Stars. I think it was top 20. So they're on Food Records, same label, sort of part of EMI. I think Blur were on that as well. So a couple of 12 inches that you don't see very often. I love picking up 12 inches. I'm always picking them up. And in the same box, again for £1, we had the debut by the Human League, Reproduction. So from 79, I've never had a copy of this. I got Travelogue, but never had this one. I think the band weren't pleased with the record sleeve. I think there was a miscommunication. But a lot of people have sort of showed this jacket in the past. It's pretty distasteful, really. Babies being trodden on. So this contains a cover version of You've Lost That Loving Feeling, the Righteous Brothers. Because I'd never heard this before. It's pretty experimental. It's, you know, it's a bit raw. But you got to remember when it was. It was 79. Very sort of early days. Empire State Human. That's the well-known track on here. When I was started going out in 81, there used to be a club in Oldham called Romeo and Juliet's, and Romeo's was upstairs and they played all the pop, and Juliet's was downstairs and they played like The Cure and Human League and Fad Gadget and stuff like that. So I didn't used to be able to get in because I was too young, but I used to get in on a Thursday night for some reason because it wasn't as busy. So I always went on a Thursday night, and yeah, pretty bad dancing going on in 81 by me. But yeah, Reproduction by the Human League. And then another nice one just to find in the box, Gold Frap and Utopia. So this is from the album Felt Mountain. So you don't see 12 inches. Again, similar to Dubstar really. Alison Gold Flaps now. I always say Gold Frap. Gold Frap. Not Gold Flap. Gold Frap. It's gone solo. Follow her on Instagram. She needs the love. But yeah, she's lovely. And yeah, this is a nice track. Then a couple of bog standard sort of pound records maybe. So does anyone know who did an album called Reality Effect? Have you got that album? Second album by the Tourists. I think it's 1980. This got So Good to Be Back Home and Only Want to Be With You. So I like the Eurythmics, I like Annie Lennox, I like Dave Stewart, so there's no reason why I shouldn't like the Tourists. I didn't have any albums by them. I think they did 3. Sort of record you see very cheap, so I thought I'd pick this one up. And then a Roxy Music album that I've never bothered with because it's only got 4 tracks on it, but it's about 26 minutes long, this album. A live album, very strange only having 4 tracks on it. I think there's a DVD or a CD with a lot of tracks on it. So I've never bothered picking this up even though I've got a pretty substantial Roxy Music collection. It's called The High Road. And it's got Jealous Guy, Like a Hurricane, the Neil Young track, My Only Love and Can't Let Go. And it's live, it's during the Avalon tour. So I think Avalon sold so well, they threw this out as well. As you can see, it's been chewed by something, but it wasn't me. It's the sort of album you usually see quite cheap really, but I just thought I'd pick it up. Maybe I'll probably be able to get an upgrade for £1.50 or something, but it sounds good. It's I mean, I love Roxy Music anyway. And some 7-inch singles to show you. So I've got a 10-inch as well first. So I don't have a lot of 10 inches, but the Guillemots, this is from 2006 from their debut album. It's called We're Here. So this is like lo-fi indie. I think the album, their debut album, nearly won the Mercury Prize. It's very good. They've kind of disappeared a little bit from London, but nice 10-inch of the Guillemots. Then some 7-inch singles. One of my favourite sort of 90s bands, late 80s bands, The Wedding Present. So there was a guy selling singles for 50p, so, and he had some good ones, so I'm kind of collecting these. The Wedding Present brought out a single every month in '92. So this one's Sticky and a cover of Go Wild in the Country. And then No One Is Innocent, the Sex Pistols, with My Way on the flip side. And Playground Twist by Susie and the Banshees. And Golden Skin by Silver Sun. So Silver Sun have just reissued their first 2 albums. Kind of the British Weezer. This is on pink vinyl from 1997. And is there another one? No. So then at the car boot sale, the first guy that I bought the records from had some singles that were, well, this is a Record Store Day single. He wanted £2 for it. So this is an EP that came out in 2015. I do like Georgie Fame. So Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, Soul Stomp, Last Night and Sweet Thing. Like brand new. So we all know how expensive Record Store Day stuff is. So Soul, nice EP by Georgie Fame. And they had this for a couple of pounds. The Mekons, the debut from '78. So this has been reissued. If this was an original copy, it goes for about £50. So Never Been in a Riot, 32 Weeks and Heart and Soul. So I don't have anything by the Mekons from Leeds. Still together, I think. So I thought I'd pick that up. And then I've got this on 7-inch single, like an original copy, but it's pretty battered. So it's the Normal. I think this came out in '81. So it's Warm Leatherettes and TV OD. But yeah, I think he did me a deal. They ended up costing me about £1.50, these singles. So yeah, some really nice singles. Bit of everything really. Bossa Nova, reggae, new wave. What else have we had? Jazz. Anything else I've missed out? Synth pop. So yeah, this is why I love going to car boot sales. The weather's been not great in July and August, and you know, car boot season will soon be over, but days like today, certainly worth getting out of bed. If you got any comments about what I showed, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.